खंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। First, before we go into the subject of the satsang, I want to thank a few people here for one, after walking for 1,400 kilometers, to bring us once more into the lap of luxury for a night. Now when we get onto the bed, we feel like slipping down and sleeping on the floor. But thank you very much for doing this. In this case, I must particularly thank a wonderful man who just now spoke, Mr. Girish Krishnamurthy. Sira and Devashri for the whole program. And of course, my good old friend, Mr. C.V. Mohan Kumar. And his consort, Sumati. Actually, when he said we have to go to Eagleton and we are having a program, I was trying to get out of it actually, slip out of it, because I said long time I haven't played golf. So we won't take up the club right now. But Mohan, you know, when he catches on to something, he never lets go. So he managed it. And Mohan, it was a very good show. You really did. Especially, I know Sumati is behind you. They say that a wife walks before a husband because, no, a wife walks behind a husband because of the saying that before every successful man there is his second half. Anyway, and then I also thank Mrs. Krishnaswamy and the Spastic Society of India for bringing their wonderful children. In fact, our treasurer is not here, so I can bravely announce that we want to give a lakh of rupees to the Spastic Society. I'll take care of the logistics, but since he is not here, I need not be afraid. It's nothing, I know, but it's a gesture from us. The Icon Nursing College children did a wonderful performance. I don't know in the middle of nursing how they do all these dance performances, but they really did a good job. And Mrs. Krishnaswamy said she has been also coordinating with them. Then, of course, the wonderful music we heard, Kalpana, Sira, Sai and Ganesh, Pakshav with the tabla, Radhika and Dr. Saraswati for hosting the yatris. Then of course Mr. Ramamurthy, Suresh for the puja, Vasava and Sarita, Sunita, Sridhara and Satya for helping with the material system that brings about such events. Last but not the least, Eagleton itself for hosting us. Having said that, now let us go into the subject which you discussed. I am surprised. I haven't known you for such a long time, not very long. And yet, I here find a person who seems to have almost read me properly. Is it because of your corporate association or professorial capabilities, I don't know, but you seem to have kind of found out things which I usually keep quite hidden and protected. So you have broken the, I only hope it doesn't turn into a Pandora's box. The thing is, today one of the songs which was my favorite, which they sang, was Payo is my name, Ram Ratan Sanpai. The Ram Ratan to paa liye hain, but I don't know how many people will share it. That's the fear many times. Because in this era, in this Kali Yuga, very few people are interested in Ram Ratan. They are interested in other Ratans. So even if you try to distribute, you said in Tamil, there was a famous saint and yogi called Thiruvarul Perunjodi Ramalinga Swami. When he passed away, actually nobody knows because he was put in a room, in a small room with no windows and only one door. After several days, since he didn't come out, they opened the door. They only found his cloth, white cloth which he was wearing, and a small chit written in Tamil. It said, Kadai Virutho Kolvarille Katikondo, which means I spread out my wares, there was no taker, so I wound up and went away. Let us hope the same thing doesn't happen here. The wares are spread. I wish and hope that there are some takers for it at least. Because these wares which we give are not commercial wares, so there are very little offers for it. However, that's the situation of the world. We can't do anything about it. Now the thing is, I have now forgotten the order in which Krishnamurti gave his questions because it was a little long. But he ended it with, tell us about whether it is true that a guru is needed, whether it is true that in contact with a spiritual person, one can also become spiritual, and also, he said, tell us about yourself. Now in this matter I have to say one thing which is very, very important. Personally for me, I don't know about others. There are cases of people like Ramana Maharshi who don't seem to have had a guru. But if they don't have a guru now, my understanding is sometime in their previous lives they must have had gone through some instructions and they came all prepared this time. The atta was ready and the oil was hot, so just had to put it in the vada came out. But generally, it's not so. Neither the dough is ready, nor is the oil hot. So therefore, in general, especially in Kali Yuga, I think it is also my experience that if Maheshwarnath Babaji has not touched me and blessed me and picked me up, I don't think I could have done anything at all. I would have, like my father desired very seriously to become a building contractor. That is what I would have become. Probably married early and had 5-6 children. And to go for the walk of hope, I'd have to tell each one of them. But it didn't happen because Babaji picked me up, Maheshwarnath Babaji took me with him. Rather, I found him, but I think that was all part of a drama. He picked me up, and I spent some years with him traveling in the Himalayas. Now, this travel itself, apart from the instructions, does a great deal to your inner soul, to your mind, to your body. So what we are doing is kind of an imitation of that walk. You also asked us about the inner walk, so I'm mixing up everything. You know, nowadays people don't think in linear terms. There's something called fuzzy logic, so you connect from here to here. I've always been fussy before the word came into me. And people say, nowadays if children don't study for more than an hour, they say, oh, his attention deficiency syndrome. When they come to me and say, I had it from childhood, now also it's there, whatever. Because the attention given to that, what you are looking for may not be what you are really interested in. If you are seriously interested in something, there is no attention. That's my understanding. So, with traveling with Babaji, and I'm hoping that now I'm not Maheshwar Babaji, but when you travel with me, even for a day or 2 days or on a long continuous journey, it's not merely, your reading is correct, it's not merely walking from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Of course, it is important from the social point of view. It's very important. And all social movements, at least for me, come from my inner spiritual experience. It's not based on any theory. It is based on my anubhava. My belief, not my belief. You don't need a belief if you know something. If you don't know, I believe. But if you know, you don't need belief. My understanding, my experience, my anubhava, is that at the core of every human, there is only one reality, which is a spark of the divine. Everyone. And therefore we are united together as human beings. We may be different. No two people are different. I'm saying. Otherwise I look at Patanjali Kadaram because they look the same. Because they are different, we are able to distinguish between people. So differences is normal. The Sankhya Pravanchana Sutra says, Prakaroti iti prakriti. That which diversifies is called prakriti. There is nothing strange about that. But in the midst of this diversity, there is a unity, which is that we are human beings. We are born on this earth, we die on this earth. We have the same number of eyes and nose and ears like anybody else. And we also speak. Languages may be different, but we speak. We eat. And we die. So we are human beings. And in every house, there are mothers, there are children, there are sisters. So when violence takes place in one home, it's the same as taking place in your own home. There is no difference. So I'm hoping that when you are walking with me, consider it as a yajna, not simply walking for only a social cause. The social cause is only an expression and manifestation of one's inner being and understanding that we are one. This is the reason for the walk. I'm sorry, I'm going away from the subject. So, yes, for me, in my experience, it was a great training that I received with my master. In fact, I hesitate to call him master because he was my friend, my father, my mother, I don't know what to say, all put together, rolled in one. And every morning it was my intention. There's one gentleman here walking with us who says every morning I want to touch your feet and every night I want to touch. So I said, okay, fine. I want to see how long he'll continue. I also had this habit of every morning do namaskar to Babaji, every night do namaskar to Babaji. Then I found it so pleasurable that I started doing in the afternoon. Then I started doing every time I got up one day. He told me, you don't have to do this. It's all in your heart. You don't have to touch my feet. And because I took everything that he said as truth and did exactly what he said, I stopped. One evening he said, there is no necessity. हर दिन पैर छूने की क्या जरूरत है? I said, ठीक है बाबा जी, कल से नहीं छूंगा, finished. the next day, however I felt it, I must go in. I don't know. He thinks it is not necessary, therefore I will not do it. Why I am saying this is this is how the relationship is between a teacher and a taught. It's an intimate relationship. Very often people say, oh, we have surrendered. Surrender is not such an easy job. It comes when everything is finished. It doesn't come in the beginning. It takes a lot of years of being with a spiritual teacher before you learn even the meaning of it. So luckily for me, I don't know why, after many births of being battered up and down, I finally found an oasis in my Sonal Baba. People complain that they are not able to walk with me alone all the time, but the job that is given to me is not for one person, but for many people. So it can never happen that somebody will be with me alone always. It's not possible. And it is not necessary. Because whatever I have taken, the sustenance that I have taken, the amrit that has been drunk from the source, is there to share with everyone. We can't give it only to some people. This is not possible. And when we share it, we should share it with everyone. No matter whether that person is good, bad, it doesn't matter. Slowly, by taking a small sip, they'll change their minds. And believe me, I'm sure it happens, and it is happening in some way or the other. You said that I'm simple. Now this simple is not an act. Life is simple actually. Truth is very simple. Truth is as simple as the sun that rises in the morning. You don't have to do anything. Just open your curtains and look. When you touch at least a beam of that, you can't touch the whole sun, you might burn to ashes. At least if you have touched a ray of that, a kirana of that, you cannot but be simple. You can't be complex. It's not possible. It's natural. It doesn't, you don't have to practice it. You understand what I mean? Now for those people who have known me and are in contact with me for some days, I want to say something. Again, I don't know how this man has an uncanny knack of finding out things. I sometimes talk to people, I joke, they joke, we laugh, but I am, at least now, alerting you that even when it is a joke, give some attention to, there might be something in it. That's how Babaji was, and that is what has come into my head. It may be a simple thing, and when you don't talk to people, he doesn't talk. First of all, now my walk is my talk, but I don't talk many times because there is nothing to talk. Somebody comes to you, you do the minimum amount of talking and say this is the essential thing to be done. You meet them after 6 months, 1 year, nothing has been done. So what should I talk? What should I say? Keep on saying. Change doesn't come so easy. It comes through lots of effort. You said grace will save. Grace will save, but we have to keep the windows open for the grace to come. And how to keep the windows open are the instructions which the teacher gives. How to keep them. You cannot do more than keeping the windows open. That we don't do. It's essential. You keep the windows open, then the grace which is always there will come in. You know, you cannot decide when the breeze is going to blow. You cannot decide. But you can keep your windows open so that when it blows, you are not closed and it comes in. You keep your windows open, and so therefore all our instructions. And believe me, each instruction may be different. Now there are so many people who come to me. I may not instruct the same way to every person. It may be different. For instance, As an example, if somebody has a certain quality which they need to cut to move forward, my instructions to that person will be accordingly. It may not be the same with the other person because the other person does not have that quality which needs to be trimmed. So I would sometimes say, indulge, do it. So another person has to stop it. So there is no general statement. The only general theory that I have, not theory, the only general direction is that one should study one's mind. Find out what are the flaws. Because if you don't look, you cannot find out. And then try to deal with it. And it may be different with different people. So I'll end this answer by saying, while grace is essential, especially from a teacher, especially in this age, you have also to follow the instructions of the teacher and not simply say that grace will come and do whatever you like and live as you like. This is not possible. Not possible. You have to put in some effort. You have to do what you have been instructed. If I tell you how to go out from Eagleton to Bangalore, you will have to find the way and walk, not walk, get into the car or whatever. We say walk because we got accustomed to it. We'll take one more whole day to reach Bangalore. So, you have to do it. Instead of that, if you say, oh, you are the greatest teacher because you have told me how to go to Bangalore and give me a dozen garlands on my neck and do arati to, will you go there? You will have to go walk. But grace is, you don't have to seek grace, it is always there. Yeah, we need to transcend samskaras, right? But there are good samskaras and bad samskaras. We don't have to transcend the good ones. We are only to transcend those which act as an obstacle to our movement towards the truth. Now the thing is, most of our samskaras and most of our life in this material world is based on happiness. Why do we do various things? Because we want to get some happiness, pleasure, happiness, whichever way you want to call it. They're a little different, but for the purpose of today's discussion, let's say the same. This is what attracts us. I have a house, I have a car. No, I'm not talking about myself. I have two, but I'm talking about in general. I have a house, I have a car, I have a wife, I have children, I have an income coming. So then what is the next thought? Then I get bored with it. Then I said, let me look at the neighbor. So the problem is what? The problem is that when I have enough food and enough luxuries, then there is a desire for me to indulge. So the first thing is to watch that, to be aware that this is happening. Why do people do tapasya? Because if, for instance, and there are only grown-ups here, there's no problem. If, for instance, your sexual energies are running riot, now if this is happening, then how do we get free of it? These are some of the things that hold you down and don't allow you to rise. This is nothing to do with love, it is to do with chemical hormones. No? So, when this happens, how do we, so we have, for instance, if you don't eat food for 5 days, fast, you will see that all this has gone for some time, temporary. It's only when you are well fed and you are happy, then all these things come. So therefore, all methods and practices are meant to cut down those extraneous desires that come and consume. You're not saying you shouldn't indulge, but too much of indulgence is only a distraction from your true self. So, that's one thing which you have to watch out all the time. However, renunciation does not mean changing your robes. Changing your robes, you can change it to any robe. Kashayam, Bahukrita Vesha, Shankaracharya's son. There are people can wear different Veshas, including Kasha, it doesn't mean anything. What is renunciation is the less you are self-centered, the more you do for others than for yourself. You are already into renunciation. And now for all this, the mind cannot remain unoccupied. It has to occupy itself with something that gives it pleasure and happiness. If it doesn't, then it will try to find happiness and pleasure outside in the outside world. So therefore, you have to learn ways and means to occupy your mind in the inner pleasures and inner happiness. When that begins to dawn on you, and when you are beginning to taste that Ram Ratan, the ambrosia, then automatically you will not get attracted by these things. Otherwise it is not possible. Otherwise through discipline you can control yourself. Samnyam Indriya Gramam. Indriyas have to be controlled. Now, you cannot control them because the mind cannot remain without a target. You can't keep it empty. So turn your mind to something which is within and which is enjoyable, which is like the Kasturi Mriga described by Kabir Das, the musk deer Kasturi Mriga, which has a pouch under its tail, under its belly, which produces Kasturi, musk. In certain seasons, the beautiful fragrance of them, it goes around looking where is this fragrance coming from. The fragrance is coming from under its belly button. We also have the same thing here. Therefore, if you begin to enjoy this, then slowly your enjoyment of that will get balanced. When you live in this world, you have certain things to do, I agree. But you need not get totally caught up by it. And you can limit your expressions to an inner circle and not go around distributing it everywhere. We are not seeds of grass or flowers which are cast in the wind so that they reproduce. Give it to yourself. So, therefore, the ancient times people have said, meditate, find the joy in yourself. Or, when you get attracted towards the deity, you are fully absorbed in looking after the deity, dressing the deity, feeding the deity, praying to the deity. Then your mind is doing something. It is occupied, and it is occupied internally. You would say, no, it is outside. That connection becomes very intimate. Then you are able to free yourself from these things that pull you down. So therefore, my solution to this is, the earlier you start doing some practice by which you can enjoy the inner, the easier it will be for you to let go of the outer. Now, when you have really touched the source, the inner source, and seen the absoluteness of it, a time will come when you will be compelled to share it with others. When that happens, you will share it without having the sense of ego. You will not share it saying, I am doing this, I am doing that. It will become like an overflowing of love and affection and energy, which has no reason. It's not business. I do something good to you, I expect something. No. That can happen only when you discover that your inner being is the same as the inner being of all living beings. So keep thinking about it. It will take time. It's not that. First of all, let me tell you, in the spiritual journey, there are no shortcuts. If anybody is offering you shortcuts, if you want too much money, if you want to waste, please go. Otherwise, run away from it. There is no shortcut. The way is hard. One has to determine to walk on it and continue to walk till one reaches the goal.